the rapid population decline that is upon us, right? I mean, the downward trending birth rates in almost every country. There's a handful of sub-Saharan African countries that have positive birth rates and are growing, but especially in Western nations, Eastern European nations, Western European countries, Canada, US, not yet, but we're getting there. Where now the predictions are by 2050 or 2060, I've seen as early as 2050 and 2060, these declining birth rates will be irreversible. And now there's predictions that by 2200, 2250, which is not really that far away, you're going to see something like mass extinction rates. And I'm like, this is like, it's like in Europe, like Pope John Paul II, in the 80s, actually a good Pope, talked about the culture of death, right? Now, he was mainly addressing abortion. But I think, also these ideas of euthanasia were also in the conversation at the time. And it's like, what is this? It's not just the incentivizing of individual suicide. It's like civilizational suicide.
Yeah.
It's like a total embracing of everything that will eventually just lead to the end of one's civilization, one's ethnicity, one's country.
So the only reason that America isn't in quite the slide that some of the other countries are is simply because of our immigration. Immigration has actually helped stave off some of it. It's not that white Americans are having more kids than anybody else. They would have fallen as well, but we've had an influx of other individuals that have helped stabilize our population, stabilize our country. The stats are that by 2035, we will have more people over 65 than we do have under 65, which is the first time in this country that's ever happened. And that's not that far away. That you're talking about, just 10 years from now almost. When that happens, you have so many issues because all of those people, and we've talked about this on prior podcasts, who've not had children, that as you age, you need more medical care, just as a point in course of life. But there are fewer doctors because there's fewer people who are working. There are fewer people who went to medical school, which means that healthcare gets more expensive and harder to achieve. And so it becomes a vicious circle where these things, the cost keeps going up. There's fewer paying into the tax base in order to sustain that cost for the Medicare or Medicaid or whoever, for the older individuals who need it. You have more and more people being alone because there's just no one to visit them. There's all these old people. And we saw again with COVID, how all these individuals who were isolated, people were dying in their apartments and not being found till 3 or 4 weeks later. We didn't even know because that person never comes out of their room because they have no family, right? There are no brothers and sisters. Everybody had one kid. And when that kid grows up and becomes 70, who's going to check on him? We don't know. So it's a continuing crisis. And what makes the assisted suicide issue so critical is because it is, as those problems compound, it is an easy out. It is an easy way to dismiss people. If children don't matter to us, then certainly the aged won't matter to us.
Right, exactly. And then you end up using it for social reasons. And that's what we're seeing happening right now in Canada. It becomes an outlet because of social pressures. I mean, if you just take a look at Canada MAID, MAID, death, and you do an online search for news stories, stuff will pop up even just over the last couple of weeks saying, hey, we actually have too many, not too many, we have people, actually it's all too many, we have people who are nowhere close to having a natural death, but are requesting MAID. Well, of course, that's where it's going to go because it's becoming a social thing.